When you have BPD, you have a vault of emotions stuck inside of you, and you cannot let them out. My name is Brielle, and I am a counsellor. I'm very quirky, I'm very different, I'm very eccentric. It's easy to be picked on when you're not understood. And it's also easy to be picked on when you're easily reactable and easily emotional. And I was a very emotional child. You know, obviously with the school counsellor, she was trying to support me, but I wasn't talking to her about the bullying either. I wasn't talking to anyone about it. I don't really know why I didn't. Part of me wonders whether people would believe me. When I first started self-harming, it was a lot of built-up emotion that was sort of trapped inside. Not having been diagnosed with BPD at that point, I had no understanding of obviously how to manage the emotions that I had trapped inside. It's just a horrible feeling. I already felt just like a horrible human anyway, based upon the bullying, and I just didn't want to be here anymore. So when I was first diagnosed with BPD, I was 30 and living in England. Anger was the biggest emotion that I was feeling. It was the rush of the anger that I couldn't understand. It was scary, and it was also very confusing for the sudden rush of anger for the smallest of things, like someone putting a plate in the wrong place, and suddenly my world was just not in the complete wrong axis, and I was so angry at that person for putting a plate in, you know, the wrong part of the kitchen. Simple things like that. I couldn't control my emotions, and then I couldn't calm myself down, what felt like eternal sadness. So all of these huge emotions that I couldn't understand, and then humongous bouts of depression. Eventually, the GP that I had seen said that obviously this was bigger than just trying to treat it with antidepressants, so they referred me to the local mental health team, which I eventually saw a psychiatrist. My first 2 sessions with 2 different psychiatrists were more just information sessions to describe how I was feeling and what was happening. They were sort of a little unsure in terms of whether it was personality disorder or bipolar. Eventually they diagnosed me with BPD. I went home and I just researched it because I was so unwell and living in England. My parents flew over, because as a teacher they came over for one of the school holidays, but they came over for like 2 months just to try and prop me up, and it helped immensely. They were there for one of the visits and came in and sat with me for one of the psychiatrist visits to talk with them and to try and help. My mum, bless her heart, was really upset afterwards because she wished she had done more when I was younger, and she wished we had known sooner so that we could have done more. Obviously, researching as much as possible gave me the understanding of who I was and what makes me the way I am, and that also made me understand who I was as a teenager, who I was as a child, why I was the way I was. One of the first things that I had to learn, especially when it came to my family, is the ability to communicate how I was feeling, and it's really difficult. When you have BPD, you have a vault of emotions stuck inside of you, and you cannot let them out. There's no switch. You know, you'll go from 1 minute being this happy-go-lucky person, and the next minute you're raging at somebody for moving the plate to a different part of the kitchen for absolutely no reason. For somebody chewing too loudly on a carrot sitting next to you, you know, or you'll be sobbing in a corner because, I don't know, it started raining. There's no switches to turning any of these things off. The biggest thing I had to learn was how to communicate these things, especially to my family, because they didn't understand these things. And I just had to be able to say to them, I'm really sorry for snapping at you. I don't understand this emotion that I'm feeling right now. I'm just suddenly feeling so angry and I don't know why. Stigma and discrimination would be probably, at the moment and in the past recently, is the hardest thing that I'm finding, especially in the health system. And I don't think that BPD is something that is talked about enough. it's not something that's understood enough, and I think that it's something that people who have BPD and who don't have BPD can understand, that you can live a life with BPD, you know, in a way that you can be happy. One of the biggest things is remembering that it's not linear. You're still gonna have those difficult moments. And that's an unfortunate reality, but they're not going to be all the time. They're not going to be frequent. And you are going to develop so many good coping strategies and skills and support networks and manage yourself so much better so that you are able to work yourself through them. My sister and I are very close. We actually live 5 minutes from each other. I think we talk every day. She's like a couple of years older than me, so we're quite similar. I like to annoy her as much as possible. I feel like it's my job as the younger sister. So, you know, we have that great banter, and she's always there to support me. If I'm feeling bad, if I'm not feeling good, all I have to do is say I'm not feeling great, and she's right there. Or if I want to, I can go down and visit my parents. I've got friends who are also really supportive, but I think the other coping strategies are my individual coping strategies. I'm an introvert, so I like my own space. My house is my safe haven. If I could look back at my 17-year-old self, I would tell her to stand up for herself and go and tell somebody. Tell your parents that you're being bullied, to not sit in silence and suffer. Know that it's okay to not be okay, but that it's also okay to talk to people about how you're feeling and to reach out and let people know that you're not doing okay. I think that that's really, really important. I wish that my 17-year-old self had not stayed silent and had actually spoken up and done something about it. So the best thing that you can do for your loved ones is to just be patient with them, to be there for them, to not force them to do anything that they're not comfortable with, to just be there beside them, support them the way that they feel that they need support, and just communicate with them as much as you can. I would want to say to people with BPD that you are strong, you are amazing, you have so much going for you. Control is not always your own, and that's hard. Feeling okay is not always guaranteed, because control of your emotions is not always guaranteed. But it's okay to not be okay. You have the ability to have a happy life. Yes, it is challenging, but it is possible, and you can do it. When times get tough, sometimes it's okay to bury your head under the sand, because that's what I do. And then when you feel that situation or that emotion has sort of passed, bring your head back up again and you keep going. And that's how you can achieve yourself to be happy. I'm Brielle, and I am a voice of hope.